Hi, this is Anjula Ram for Conscious Life News, and I am very excited to be here today with Gail Thackray at her beautiful ranch. Thank you so much for having me here.
Oh, thank you for coming.
Yeah, I totally appreciate the time and space that you're willing to share with us. Now, you just got back from a John of God trip, so can we just start off with what are these John of God trips about?
Oh, well, John of God is an amazing healer in Brazil. And you might have heard that he cured Wayne Dyer of cancer. He was on Oprah. So he's a healer that you can go and you can actually go to Brazil. I take people down there on trips to see him. He's one of the most amazing healers in the world. He's a trance medium, which means he actually brings spirits into his body. So you're actually going up to see the spirit and get a reading from the spirit. And he does energy healing, so he shifts your energy. Wayne Dyer actually didn't go to see John of God. He sent a photograph down.
Oh, wow.
So I do that too. If people can't go on a trip with me to Brazil, because of course it's wonderful, spend 2 weeks in Brazil, but if you can't actually go, you can send a photograph down there, and it actually works really, really well. And energy healing, that's basically what I do, is spiritual healing. And what they're doing is the spirits are reading your energy. So we all have an energy field around us, and that's where we store a lot of our issues. So physical issues, but also emotional things, things even from our early childhood is stored kind of in our energy field. So when you go for a spiritual healing, you might have something like a cancerous lump, and you say, I want this physical lump. You go to a doctor and you can have it removed, and great, you've removed the physical part of it, but you haven't actually removed the energy part of it. And when you go for a spiritual healing, what you're doing is you're moving the energy. Why did you have that in the first place? Because, there's a reason. Every ailment that we have, every difficulty in our life, we brought to ourselves for a reason to experience it. And the idea is to figure out what it is we're supposed to learn from that, what we can get out of that, and then let's move on. And that's that's the underlying energy.
So you're getting it at the root when you're doing the spiritual energy.
It's going all the way to the cause. And we have these things, I call them triggers, and I tell people at night, right before I go to sleep, if you just spend a little quiet time and talk with your spirit guides and look at your life and think about what could be your triggers. And these are things like, start with your mom and your dad and your early childhood, and start thinking about what really bothers me. When I think about something my mom did, does it really bother me today? Do I still get emotional about it? Or, my dad didn't do this, and does it still hurt my feelings? Or somebody at school that said something. And if it's something that's 20, 30 years ago, and you're still kind of like, emotional about it when you think about it. Yeah, clearly there's something there, And romantic relationships. When you look back, you go, oh, that person, they were a total jerk and they did this and that. But I have, white light and it's all gone, and I don't have any emotional impact with it. Yeah, but we don't. We hold it in our energy.
And this is what I like about your work, because it's not just like, oh, I'm going to drench myself in love and light and we're all healed. It's actually taking a look at yourself, and you are actually doing some work on going through that. Now, what I do want to cover is, we can do it about this lifetime because we can remember this lifetime, but it does actually stretch back into past lifetimes. Is that correct?
Often it does. It could be something that we've had in this lifetime, something with our mum and our dad, and we've carried those feelings that's in our energy. But most likely it actually started with those same people in a past life. And sometimes we might have an issue and we're like, well, I really have no idea why I have this. And it could have stemmed in a past life. So everything we have, whether it's a physical issue or it's a financial block or we're having a pattern with relationships, all that is in our energy field, and it's often from past lives.
And now you're not somebody who says, come to me and I'm going to heal you and my magical powers. It's something that you make very clear is available to everybody, and everybody has their own spirit guides and so on. So you also teach people to tap into this within themselves. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, you have to take your own responsibility. And people do, they want to come and they're like, oh, heal me, fix me, tell me what I should do and how I should run my life, And it's kind of scary that, some psychics would say things and people take it very seriously, but you have to be part of it. You've got to be involved in it, because why do you have an issue in your life? Even a physical issue, You know, so you have a cancer. It's not because you're a victim and you just got it because it's bad luck. You know, there's a reason there, and there's a reason that you need to look at, and you need to absorb and look at that energy of why might I have that, and what can I learn from that. And so, you know, John of God even says the spirits do half the healing, you need to do the other half. And the other half is when you really start to look at it, something in your life. So when you have a spiritual healing, you know, at first things might come up. So you might say, okay, I have a problem with my arm, you know, I want this fixed. And then something comes up about your mom, and you start thinking about something that happened to you when you were 7 years old. And clearly it's all related. But when you release that energy, when, you know, you heal all the way from a soul level, you feel fantastic. Because, you know, this energy kind of clouds us, and it makes life, it kind of bogs us down. And when you clear that, you just feel much more centered. You feel like, you know, you're on your soul purpose. Things work better, you know, finances work better. And it's available to all of us. We could do it ourselves if we just, you know, meditated or prayed. And, you know, there's lots of examples of people praying and dissolving issues. But some of us just, you know, can't wrap our mind around it. We don't have the faith. We need to go to somebody else that can maybe help. And, you know, what happens is that when I do healing, it's not me that's doing it. I'm connecting in with the spirit world. And what I'm doing is I'm asking if the spirits will connect with the person. And I'm saying to the person, you know, will you be open to, because that's the main part of it. Will you be open to this? It's not about believing so much as, are you open to it? And I started finding that I do these events, and I'd have volunteers come up on stage, and I'd feel their energy, and you know, and maybe join in everybody, and you do a clearing on everybody. But people will come to my events and they say, you know, I had this bad back and now my back's healed, or I had this problem, and they're kind of getting spontaneous healing. And what it is they're open to it. So they're coming to my event and they're saying, wow, I'd like to tap in. I'd like to feel that energy healing. I'd like to talk to my spirit guide. I'm open to be healed. And as soon as you kind of open your heart and say, I want to know about this, I want to be there. It's like we've got this whole invisible world that's just dying to help us. And, you know, they want to help us to raise their karma. But we have to ask.
And then allow it.
Yeah.
And here's something interesting is that, you know, I feel that when we do release things and we feel they're very personal to us, you know, with us being one at our source level, I feel like that we're actually healing for everybody else as well.
Well, we're all connected. I mean, we're all one and part of, we're all one. And, you know, it's a strange concept, but I've seen this also when people come and they say, I want this healing. And I say, well, you know, that person is in my physical environment. If somebody says, well, like, why are people starving there? Why does this horrible thing happen in the world? Well, it's in our environment. We create our physical environment. And it's a very strange thing to wrap your head around. But you can say to yourself, I'm not going to accept that those people are starving. I'm not going to have that. I'm sorry that I put that in my physical existence. And I'm going to say a prayer and say, I don't want that in my physical existence. So it's not just about us and about ourselves. It's about everybody. And often, when we heal ourselves, things around us change too.
So with, say, stuff that's going on the other side of the world, you know what I mean, and that has a lower vibration and kind of like a sense of lack and struggle and suffering, what do you suggest, or what do you do yourself, and what do you suggest to people to do to try and lift that vibration or not add to it and feed into the lower vibration? Like, how do we do that? Because they are our brothers and sisters, that we're all one in spirit. So we don't want to turn a blind eye to it. We don't want to make it worse. We want to know how we can be of service and lift their vibration as well as our own. So what do you suggest for that?
Well, if you're sitting there saying, you know, I can't believe that is happening, and why do the politicians allow that to happen? And you're almost like creating it, making it worse, looking at somebody and saying, I feel sorry for them, and and getting angry because somebody's not doing something about it. The better thing to do is just to do a meditation. You're just as powerful. We all have that God energy within us, and we're all tapped into this, you know, universal energy. So sit and do a prayer and say, I'm not going to accept that in my environment. I'm going to send my brothers and sisters love, because that is also me. That's a part of me. That's a part of me that's broken, and I'm not going to accept that that is in my environment. And that's, I think, is the best thing that we can do.
So So now I love it because you always say like, I was normal until this age. So now you had quite a transformative time, and you can clearly see that you're doing exactly what you're meant to be doing while you're here in this physical form. So for people who are basically taking a look at their lives and they're realizing that this isn't, there's something more I'm meant to be doing, like they can feel it. So now I know you do this soul purpose, life purpose work. So can you just talk a little bit about how people can find and start aligning with what they're truly here on a spiritual level to do?
Well, I believe that we have past lives, and that we have a soul purpose. We've probably been working on it for several past lives, but that we're up there in heaven and we're looking down and we're deciding, these fun things we'd like to do with our new life. Because we have a purpose, we have a drive, and it's not just here to hang out. So we'll say, this is my soul purpose. This is what I'd like to do. I'd like to continue that, and these are the things I need. Oh, and I'm going to throw in a couple of extra lessons to make it interesting, because
I was good to get bored.
I was good with money last time. Maybe a little financial stress would be fun. Maybe throw in a bad leg, that might be interesting, I'd like to be good at music. I want that as my sole purpose. So if I struggle financially, that would be, that would help me to really, drive that. So we set all these things up beforehand, and so we have a soul purpose, and that's that thing that we just love, that we love to do. And you might have it in your present career if you're really lucky. You might get it from a hobby that you have, or from family, or you might just get little glimpses of it. And the idea is to get closer and closer to what you love to do. And clearly we are given the talents to do it. So you're not going to be here to be an amazing singer and then have a terrible voice, right? So that would be kind of cruel. So you're given the talents of what you're supposed to be doing. So start looking about what you're really good at, and does that fit your career that you're doing now. One of the things I tell people is think about who do you admire, whether it be a politician, or a great spiritual leader, or just your hairdresser or your mom, and why do you admire that person? Is it because they're caring and loving, or because they're a leader, or they're organized, or what is it you love about that person? And then the surprising thing is, that is within you. That is your soul purpose. It's part of your passion. Otherwise, you wouldn't resonate with it. You wouldn't see that. And a lot of people put down Mother Teresa, and then I tell them, they're like, wow. And they don't, and they say, well, I couldn't possibly be that or do that.
Yeah.
I had a police officer once in my class, and he said, for the people I admire, he said Mother Teresa. And I said, why do you admire Mother Teresa? And he said, because she works with the poorest of the poor and people that nobody else wants to deal with. And I said, well, who do you work with?
That's what he does. And just, to pierce the illusion of the American dream as such, it could be anything, right? So you could just love baking cookies, or you could just love being outdoors and just have so much joy from delivering mail. And it's not that one is better, it's what resonates within you and brings you joy.
It's that thing that you find that really makes you tick. And you can't be there all the time, you can't be 100% of the time. But a lot of us will get stuck in a job that we really know we're really not happy with. And then they say, well, should I quit my job and, run out? And you kind of have to take baby steps, Maybe you started as a hobby that you're going to grow into, but once you can start telling the universe, this is what I really want to do, and that's what it's about, focusing on, okay, now I know what my passion is, and now I'm going to put it out to the universe, and then things will start happening. And when you start telling your guides, when you start telling the spirits, I'd like some help with this, it's amazing the things that show up, because they're trying to help us all the time. We're just oblivious to it. So it's like, we've got these guides up there, and half the time they're unemployed because we forget to ask. And the other time they're trying to show us something, and we're like, oh, okay, and we're working this way. So we just kind of miss the boat. So once you ask for something, you've got to kind of play the yes game. Say yes to everything that comes up, and try it, because it's got to come through somebody. If you ask for a new car, a car doesn't show up in your driveway.
Is that why it's not there yet? So now, talking about connecting and listening and asking with our spirit guides, like, I know a lot of people would stop at that point and be like, well, I don't know. I don't communicate with my spirit guides. So could you talk a little bit about building that connection, how you can talk to your spirit guides, and also, you know, there are entities as there are on this plane of higher and lower vibration. How do you ensure that it's for your highest good and it's actually coming from divine source and not some naughty little spirits that are just like, oh, let's have some fun with that person's life, you know?
Yeah, well, and that's a good point. You know, I always say put white light, and I say just put a bubble of white light around you. And really, it's just the attitude that you have. If you say, well, I'm going to say the Lord's Prayer, or, you know, I just believe that I'm protected by angels. Once you say that, nothing negative can exist in that. And especially for people that are very overly sensitive. So the clairsentient types, which you are a little bit. So you tend to feel and sense a lot of different energy, right? But you can pick up things off people. Yeah. So these are the people that everybody gravitates to come and tell the problems. You know, the person at work, sitting minding their own business, everybody comes over and says, oh, I've got to tell you this, I've told nobody. And they start telling them everything.
Knows everybody's secrets,
And the clairsentients, they take that on, you know. So a couple of days later, they're like, oh, why have I got cold? Or, you know, I feel really tired today and I don't know why I'm tired. And a lot of times it's like other people's energy that they've taken on. So yeah, white light of protection, especially if you're very clairsentient, you know, you do that. Just in the morning before you go to work, put some white light around you, you know. Especially, you don't want to bring it home to your pets. You know, the pets do a lot of healing for us, and they'll come and sit on our lap and we'll stroke them, and they're really helping us decompress that energy. So a little white light around you before you start any kind of communication, because there are some lower levels out there. And it's mostly through meditation. Some people are scared of the word meditation because it sounds like, oh yeah, it's like a trance thing. But meditation could just be, you know, right before you go to sleep and you're nice and quiet, or just taking a walk in nature and just allowing your mind to wander. And we all have a guide that works with, a main guide and other guides. And you just start talking to them like in your mind, talking to yourself. And at first you're not going to hear anything back, but you'll start to see things show up, you know. So if you put it out there and you ask about something, you ask a question, and then maybe a little later you're on your computer and you get an email, or a friend at work says something, you're like, wow, I was just thinking about that. And that's how the little signs come to us. And as you do it more and more, you will, you know, maybe start to hear messages or start to sense things. But a lot of the time they'll start to give you little subtle signs. So when I first started doing this, I said, well, do I have a guide? Because, you know, I've heard everybody's got a guide. I wonder if I have one, right? And I was doing mediumship, so I knew to kind of just put white light around me and then to raise my vibrational energy. So I do a little meditation and I kind of get a little lightheaded. I raise my vibrational energy and the spirits have to come down a little bit to kind of meet our energy, right? So you get in that kind of zone. And then I said, okay, I'd like my spirit guide to come in and sit next to me. So I feel like there's this man sitting next to me, and he looks, you know, kind of Roman. I can just see his profile and see his nose, and he looks like he's in a kind of Roman armor. So I said, what's your name? And I get Achilles. So I'm like, or Achilles, like Achilles heel, like Greek. And he says, no, Egyptian, but kind of the same thing as Greek. And I said, well, okay, Achilleus. And he says, Google me. Right? So, Google me. You know, so I say
that to people when I'm done with a conversation, Google it. So he's like, oh, you can research this.
So I go in and I put, you know, Achilleus, Egypt, you know, and I get Achilleus, ruler of Egypt, 300 AD.
Wow.
And I got like total chills. So you could Google him. So, you know, ask about your spirit guide, and if you're not sure, get on your computer and see what happens. But we all have a spirit guide. And the more and more that we're in touch with our guides, I tell people a nice thing to do is to take a crystal. I love crystals because they connect you with Mother Earth, and I have beautiful ones I brought back from John of God that are blessed. So I say take a crystal, put that over your heart at night, right, you go to sleep, and just ask to clear off any energy, get rid of any health issues, anything you've picked up, and to be able to have that stronger connection and just start talking to your spirits, and they're there. And I've noticed when I do events, there's certain spirits I feel that work with me, and I feel them coming. And after I do these events, people are going home and they're feeling the same thing. They're feeling these spirits coming. So it's almost like, you know, people, they come and see me, but I think it's not that they're coming to see me. Sometimes I think they're coming to meet the spirit guides. And they'll go home and they'll say, wow, I feel, you know, the middle of the night, I put the crystal of my heart, and I was doing that, and I felt this energy, and I felt these spirits coming around. And it is, it's not like some special connection that I have. It's a connection that we all have if you just want to be open to it and allow it. And just saying that, people just watching this, as they're hearing it and they're thinking, wow, I'd like to communicate with my guides. I'd like to have some healing. I'd like to be open, and it does. It works.
Now there's also, you mentioned animals, and I know you do animal communication. Can you talk to us a little bit about animals, healing through animals, communication with animals?
Well, animals are much more connected to source than we are, so they know everything that we're saying. We just have a little bit of difficulty hearing them back. So I'd been a medium for maybe 6 months, and it was kind of a big adjustment for me. I guess I'd gotten into my soul purpose and realized I needed to do this. So I was still kind of getting used to it, and I went into a crystal shop, and there was a lady there, and she was talking about animal communication. Well, I thought, I thought you had to be communicating with animals since you were little, and that's how you did it. And she starts talking about it a little bit, and so I said to one of the clients that was there, oh, you got a picture of your cat, let me see that, And I took a picture of her cat, and I looked at it. And immediately, I saw these big, pink, fluffy slippers right in front of my face. And they were going around and around and around, and I could feel myself getting totally excited by it. And I said, do you have a pair of pink slippers with a little ball in it? And she goes, yeah. And I said, does your cat sit and watch you on an exercise bike with your feet going round and round? She goes, oh yeah, he loves that.
Wow.
And I thought, well, this is so strange. And what I realized is that animals communicate in the same way spirits do. So it's really just about kind of getting in that zone where you're open. So being a medium, when you open up to the spirit world, it doesn't matter whether you're going to do mediumship and talk with loved ones, or whether you're going to channel healing or talk to animals. It's the same thing, it's all the same place. It's not like, oh, I go here and learn this, and I go here and learn that. Once you open up, you learn to open up.
Yeah, so.
And you do the same thing, you open your heart, you do it through meditation. I do a lot of exercises with people. And you raise your vibrational energy, and you feel the communication. But they're communicating on a higher level. So people say, well, my dog's not looking at you, he's running around sniffing at things. I say, it doesn't matter, because they're out there. And they know so much about us, about our life. Often they come in with a role in our life. So they might be our healer. And those are the animals that come sit on your lap when you're all stressed out and you come home from work, especially the clairsentient ones. And you've got a very special connection with cats.
Oh, I've been thinking about getting a cat. I'm just not sure if I'm going to maintain one at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be able to attend to it.
Yeah, well, it goes back to, you've done Egyptian healing. I don't know if you remember your Egyptian lives, but you've definitely been to Egypt and had cats, and that's the connection. So often the healing animals will come and sit on your lap when you're all stressed out, and as you stroke them, you're actually taking that energy and they're changing your energy, they're helping to heal you. So when they'll come to me for a reading, their owner might say, well, my dog has a bad hip. The first thing I'll do is I'll say, okay, what's going on with your hip? And 9 times out of 10, yeah, 9 times out of 10, it's something that they're doing, right? And they might not even be noticing it, but they've got the energy of not moving forward. They feel very emotionally stuck, which would be your left leg, and it'll be the dog's left leg. And it's an emotional thing. So we're all connected, our energies are all connected.
So have you found that certain animals bring certain types of energies? Like, in my perspective, like a dog is just like that pure unconditional love, and cats are a little bit more independent. So is there different types of...
Well, they all have different energy. They'll often reincarnate, but they'll come back as the same one. So a cat usually comes back as a cat, and a dog's a dog. I had a funny reading once where a little cat said to me, well, I'm glad I can be a cat now, because when I was younger, her mum was allergic, so I had to be a little dog. She had a little white dog, and now she's a little white cat. But they often will attract certain animals that are power animals too. They're around us, So you've got a lot of big cats, big game cats around you, right? So that's probably why you're wearing the leopard skin pants, and you've probably got tons of stuff like that at home, right? Yeah. Never even realised it, And people will say, well, I don't know what my power animal is. Like, well, don't you have turtles all over your house? And I'll say, well, yeah, I do. I got statues of turtles. So it might be that you've got pictures of a certain animal around, and it might be not a pet, but more of an exotic animal, and that could well be your power animal. So we have power animals, we have spirit guides, we have angels, and some of us work better with the animal realms, some of us work better with the angel realms. It's just kind of what we resonate with.
And I find this really interesting because I think the biggest cause of suffering as such is like this feeling of being alone, right? Like I'm me and you're you, and when you think about it, how you just described it, you got spirit guides, you got, you know, animal guides, you've got angels, like you're never alone on.
We're not alone. And you know, if you think about it, people say, well, you know, I couldn't do that for me, that's too much, or you know, you feel like well, I shouldn't, you know, I shouldn't treat myself. And this is what I say, look, you know, think about, like, you've got your whole team of people up there. You're the front runner that was brave enough to have this physical life, but you've probably got 100 people behind you watching. So when you do something and you feel fantastic, they're all like, yay! So you go out and you get yourself a nice outfit and you're like, oh, look really great and everything. And the spirit guys, oh, you know, we all feel good. Then you go, no, you know what, maybe I can't afford it. Maybe I should take it back, right? And you guys are like, oh. So they want us to have that feeling of joy, and that's why often, have you ever seen these orb pictures?
Yes.
When you take photos and you see these orbs.
White lights,
yeah. And some people say, well, it's just dust on the camera, but there's, you know, there's a lot of them interact with you, and you'll notice there's a lot more at weddings and parties and happy times, and that's where our guides are coming in going, ooh, yeah,
finally,
this is fun. Having a good time, partying.
So it's almost like all of the energies and entities and guides and so on we have that haven't taken on physical form get to experience the joy through us.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think, well, up there it's just bliss all the time, but the actual physical experience of joy, they want to feel and experience that, and they can do that as they come close to us. So we're not alone, and don't think, oh, I'm doing this for me and that's selfish. Just start saying, I need to do something every day for myself, because it's not just me, I'm looking for everybody here.
Do good things, take one for the team, right? Yeah. That's what it really means.
Yeah. And sometimes we feel disconnected, and that can be part of our financial stuff. You know, our financial stuff sits right here in your lower back.
The base, yeah.
And that's our manifesting area. And when we get disconnected from source, because our abundance comes from source. Yeah. We put it out there, we say, I'd like to have this, and then the universe goes and it brings it to us. And we might say, well, I just need enough to pay my bills, and then it'll just give us enough to pay us our bills. Or we can actually believe and say, you know, I'd like to have these things. But that's where our abundance comes from. It's not from our job or, you know, from our spouse. It comes from divine.
And the others are just the means.
That's just the means
of it.
Yeah, and when we feel disconnected, like, oh, I can't do it, I can't make it, I'm not going to get it, I don't have enough, that's kind of a disconnection from source. You're kind of like shutting that off. You can have everything that you believe you can have. You can have everything. We're meant to have a beautiful, joyful life and abundance in our life. And that's why people will often get backache when you feel that disconnection.
And I totally agree with you, and it's kind of what you touched on with the emotional stuff as well. I feel like what happens is, you know, we can say like, oh, okay, I want like all this abundance in my life, or I want like the perfect lover in my life, you know. And what I think happens is that's our birthright, you know, and there's stuff that we've built up or brought along with us that we, you know, chose to work through. And I almost feel like, again, in all of those areas, it's like the stuff that blocks kind of comes up.
Exactly.
So with the manifesting, I think, you know, when people talk to me about, you know, trying to manifest something, and then it's kind of like, well, it didn't happen for me, there's a part of me that feels like, you know, the stuff came up and they didn't like it and they turned away, and it was looking at that in order to dissolve it.
Yeah, well, sometimes, you know, we do the wishful thinking, you know, we do all that work, we put it out to universe, and we're expecting, we're open, and it starts to come to us, and then when it gets close, we're like, no, I don't deserve that. And it's like we block it as an energy block.
Yeah.
And we push it away. And you know, and the secret is we'll just clear off that energy. And you can do it very easily by connecting with your guides. You know, at night, just do a meditation, hold your hand over your heart, put crystal over your heart, and just say, can you clear off this energy, and start working on those triggers, those patterns, those things that you have. Yeah, it's karmic, it's energy that we've got there, but we can also dissolve it. We can ask just to go, you know, just let me accept that lesson, let me understand that, and let me move on, and let's get rid of that. I've had enough of this financial stress. Let's move through that. This is what I've learned from it, and now I'm ready to have all the abundance, because the abundance is right there. It's like on the psychic plane waiting for us, and all we have to do is say, okay, I'm ready for that now. I want that to come.
Right, so if there's anybody at home who is willing to do like half the work, because that's what's necessary at the very minimum, now where can they find more information about the services you provide, any workshops you do, and definitely about your John of God trips? And they don't have to personally come with you. I mean, you can take pictures and so on as well, right? So where can people get some more information?
So, so my website is gailthackray.com. So that's GailThackray.com. So it's just my name. And if you go on there, I have a little sign-up sheet for my free healing list. So you just get on my email. That's my healing list, and I take that list everywhere I go. So if I go to John of God, I will email you and tell you, oh, I'm going to be there Thursday, and Thursday you can sit and do a meditation and ask for it, and people have amazing results. They say, oh. And they might even forget, you know, that I've even gone. They'll go, were you doing something on Thursday at 2 o'clock? You know, I felt this amazing light, you know. I took to the crop circles last year. I'm going again in July. I'm going to the crop circles. So, I mean, the trip details are on my site, but if you can't go and you're on my list, then, you know, you go energetically.
And it's the same thing, because in this dimension we're talking about, there's not time or space. So you gave the example of John of God and Wayne Dyer, and there was healing done without Wayne Dyer actually traveling and sitting in front of John of God, you know?
And I actually do that. I take photographs and personal petitions for personal healing to John of God. But the group one I do is free, and I also do distant healings myself. So if you've got something that's a little bit more difficult, or, you know, something you need a little help with, and it could be for anything, could be for relationships, could be for a physical thing, could be for financial, could be for an animal, a loved one. And so I do that too. That's on my site, but they should definitely get on my email list and to feel the energy from everywhere. And I teach people how to do this, so I've got lots of workshops that I do. I've got some online courses and DVDs, and then I do live events, and of course I've written a lot of books on Amazon. So.
Excellent, and we'll definitely be posting, giving the information with the video of your website and all the information that you've just shared. So thank you so much for sharing this time and space. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you for watching, and this is Anjula Ram for Conscious Life News.